go. Oh, that's savage. I'm going to need a second to recover from that. Wow. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to get behind the wheel of this RS3 Performance Edition in a Sportback. Unfortunately, we're not getting any of these in the UK, but I'm out here on the R8 GT launch and other parts of Europe are getting this car in the Sportback and in the saloon. And I've managed to nab the keys to this one for a couple of hours. So this is going to be a very quick and basic video, but I mean, why would you not want to get behind the wheel of this and experience it out here in sunny Seville? The first and most obvious thing to talk about is its color. It's Nogaro blue, which is an RS iconic color. It harps back to the RS2, although the last time I said that on the channel a couple of years ago, I know a lot of people corrected me saying that the RS2 was actually named RS Blue at the time, and then we nicknamed it, or that name turned into Nogaro Blue. But please correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but essentially that is the same color as the original RS2, and I personally absolutely love that color when it was new, and I love it today, and it looks fantastic on this RS3 Performance. They're only producing 300 units of the RS3 Performance, and they're going to be spread out in countries across Europe. Now, you might be wondering why 300? Well, the top speed of the RS3 Performance is 300 kilometers per hour, 186 miles an hour in UK torque. And that is a little bit higher than the regular RS3. Now, how have they done that? Well, we still have the iconic 2.5 litre 5-cylinder turbocharged engine under the Nogaro blue bonnet, but they've squeezed a little bit more power out of it, 407, so an extra 7 horsepower, which isn't much, but that's all they needed to tip this over the 300 kilometers per hour. But it doesn't stop there. It's not just nice paintwork and 7 horsepower. When we get around the side of the car, well, you could probably see these gorgeous, unique 19-inch lightweight wheels, and they're clad in Pirelli's Trofeo R tyres, which are a full-on track day tyre. I mean, they are road legal, but they've barely got any tread on them. Thankfully today it's dry and the sun's out. We're in the south of Spain, so I shouldn't have any issues. The suspension has also had a few tweaks, and if you look behind those front alloys, you'll see some nice big Nogaro blue calipers that are carbon ceramic brakes. And they come standard on the Performance Edition, although on RS3s, if you do tick that carbon ceramic brake option on your regular car, or if you get one of these, it's only on the front axle. The rear axle has the regular steel brake setup. There's a number of really cool small little details as well to let you know that this is the Performance Edition. When you unlock it at night, ideally, you get 300 come up on the lower part of this headlamp unit, and on the other side you get a checkered flag, whereas on the regular RS3 you get RS3. The verdict's out as to which one's better. And then when you jump inside, the first thing to talk about are these gorgeous RS bucket seats. You probably remember these from that RS4 competition I tested on the channel recently. And that car, when it came to the UK, didn't come with those seats, and I raved about them, and obviously they're the same seats. They just feel great and they suit this RS3 so well. The one complaint, or one of the biggest complaints about the RS3 in the UK at least, is the fairly ordinary levels of trim that you can get on the interior. It feels very much like an A3 S-Line most of the time, but this car just elevates that, mostly because of these seats and the contrasting blue stitching, the beautiful blue seat belt as well. It just all looks so good. We've got an Alcantara wheel with a lovely blue stripe at the top. We've got Alcantara and they've got door cards here. We've got carbon fibre everywhere, and even the MMI, or the infotainment system, behind all of the tiles, there's a lovely carbon pattern with the firing cylinder of that iconic 2.5 litre turbocharged 5-cylinder. It's just a really nice place to sit, and it definitely feels like a nicer, more premium level compared to the RS3 that we get in the UK. And something else we can't forget to talk about is the individual plaque that you get on the passenger side. This one says 1 of 300, but this is a press car, so almost like a pre-production car. And this particular car has had a hard life. In fact, it's been out here for 2 weeks of constant press drives on track and on the road, and the poor thing has seen better days. But it's great to see all of these cars being used properly, and that's what's so good about events like these. You can actually use them properly, push them much harder than you'd normally push your own car, and if they withstand to tell the tale, then you know they're a very good car. Right, let's get this out on the road. First things first, let's test out this car's claimed acceleration figures. Audi say it would do the 0 to 62 sprint in 3.8 seconds, which off memory is exactly the same as the non-performance version, but we have got Trofeo R's on, they've got reasonable temperature in them. Let's see what we can produce. I've got the Racebox Mini ready to go. Left foot is hard down on the brake, right foot on the accelerator. Here we go. Oh, that's savage. 3.26 seconds. That's a lot faster than Audi claim. A lot faster. That is to 60 miles an hour, mind, not 62. But 3.26 seconds. That'll be the first and final attempt, because these RS3s don't like doing multiple launches, and I just don't have time. I need to get on with the bulk of the rest of the video. But I think that proves that, yeah, it's way quicker than Audi say it is. And remember, it will do that come rain or shine. Well, shine with these tyres on, rain with PS4Ss or regular P0s on. Mighty impressive. It's great being back behind the wheel of the current RS3, especially in this performance guise. For those of you that haven't watched much of my recent content, I'm a massive fan of this car. I really am. When I went to the launch back in 2020, I want to say, is it that old already? Maybe not. But when I went to the launch a good year or so ago, I really enjoyed the car. It was the first RS3, as far as I'm concerned, that I would class as the driver's car. It's always had a fantastic heart, that 2.5 litre 5-cylinder turbocharged unit. That has been the big part of this car, and at one time it was kind of one of the only positives as far as I'm concerned, and people have tuned those to well over 500 horsepower. But the new one is more than just that glorious engine. As I talk about with so many of the Volkswagen Audi group cars, driving position isn't always the best, but this one with these seats in feels very close to perfect. I'm sitting a little bit lower, and these seats are so supportive, and they are so comfortable. It's really a big shame that you can't get these seats in any Audi in the UK, because they look fantastic. They really make this cabin feel far more premium and expensive and sporty, but more so, yeah, the feeling and the support they give. But otherwise, just driving down to this stretch of road, it's just a nice place to spend time in the RS3. It does everything very well. This particular version might have a bit more tyre roar from those Trofeo R's that've got very stiff sidewalls, but it's hard to say because I'm out in Spain in a left-hand drive car on a very different road surface to anything that I've tested back home in the UK. But aside from that slight increase in tyre roar, well, it's just really nice in here. It's a great place to spend time in, and it just goes about its duties very, very well. This new generation RS3 has a number of driving modes, from efficiency, comfort, auto, dynamic, but then if you cycle through using this RS button on the steering wheel, you also get the option of a torque rear mode. And these cars have got a very clever rear differential. It actually makes this car feel almost rear wheel driven, which is clever because fundamentally it's on a front wheel drive platform. The engine's up front, and most of the time it's sending its torque and power to the front axle. And RS3s have always been renowned for having Audi steer, but not this latest generation. And in fact, earlier on I was in a gorgeous grey saloon, and I was lucky enough to have a brand new set of, not Trofeo Rs, I think they were standard Pirelli P0s, brand new set to absolutely destroy on a skid pan. So let's cut to me doing naughty things in that car on quite obviously private land, and then you can join me back here on the public road. Can you have fun in your RS3? Yes, you can. You can have lots and lots of fun. As I'm sure you'll agree, it was an absolute weapon out there, so much fun. And I actually discovered when I had this car for the first time out in the Alps in Austria that my favourite mode is not this torque rear mode, because it feels a little bit artificial. It feels like it's braking the rear axle in order to induce oversteer, which it kind of is, using torque vectoring, etc. What I really like is when you go into dynamic and then you switch everything off. It gives the car a really nice balanced feel. Yes, inherently it will still understeer initially, but if you give it a bootful, then the car starts to rotate nicely. And just like any well set up four-wheel drive, you try not to steer into the skid or the oversteer too much, and the car just holds a lovely big drift, but it goes through tyres so quickly. In fact, I went through that brand new set of Pirelli P0s in about 5 minutes, and I did give them a good rest between sessions, because there's another video coming to the channel very soon where I compare this RS3, or that grey one, against the R8 GT in terms of out there on the drift pan, to see which one is fundamentally more fun. You'd think it would be the R8 GT because it's rear wheel driven, it's over 600 horsepower, but stay tuned to watch that video coming very, very soon. Can I feel that extra 7 horsepower? Not really. I'd be lying if I said I could. Maybe if I drove a standard RS3 back to back with this car, you can notice the difference, but I very much doubt it. It's the same torque figure of 500 Newton meters, and that's what you tend to feel and notice more out on the road. What does feel slightly different is the gearbox. The shifts seem a little bit quicker, but I don't remember them saying that in the briefing. So once again, maybe that's a placebo effect, but they definitely seem a little bit quicker. And also, it maybe sounds a little bit better, or I can hear more of that exhaust note and the induction sound. So maybe they've removed some of the sound deadening in here. It is a little bit lighter, but most of that is due to the wheels and the carbon ceramic standard brake option. So you remove some of that unsprung mass, which is obviously really important for any kind of performance car. and this car does have feel. In fact, I talked about that in my recent RS3 versus M240i, the fact that the RS3, the Audi, has more feel and definitely feels like more of a driver's car compared to the M240i X-Drive. Let's finish this video with a little bit of dynamic driving, talk you through what I'm feeling. Those Trofeo R tyres have got a nice amount of temperature in them now, so plenty of grip. And typical RS3 fashion, we have 265 section on the front and 245 on the rear, so wider tyres on the front. That helps dial out some of that understeer, and it also helps lay down some of that power, because fundamentally most of the time when you come out of a corner like this and you put your foot down, it's feeding most of that power and torque to the front axle, and it does a fantastic job of making the car feel nice and balanced, as I found out on that skid pan, and the whole car comes together really, really well. Something else to talk about and note with those wide front tyres that are super sticky on this car, and the fact that I've got carbon ceramic brakes, this car stops like probably nothing I've ever experienced before. Let's just demonstrate that now. I'm going to need a second to recover from that. Wow. This is a fantastic bit of road that Audi directed me to. The only problem with it is it's very open and very fast. There's nothing that tight or that technical, but I have experienced what this car's like in the past in the Alps and earlier on today on the skid pan. But it would have been nice to point this down some real technical back road with these tyres and that amount of front axle grip, because I think it would just feel mega. I really don't think that there's many cars out there on sale today, including all sorts of sports cars and even hypercars and supercars, that are worth 3-4 times as much. I really don't think there's many cars that would be as quick as this, point to point down a twisty road, because it just feels so sorted now. I really, really love it, and I want one in the Garo Blue with these seats in a right-hand drive, but that's not going to happen. So I'll just have to continue enjoying myself in this car and having fun with this opportunity that I've got today. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. It's been massively rushed. I had the car for a couple of hours, but massive shout out and thanks to Audi for letting me do that, because this isn't the car we're getting in the UK, and therefore they weren't that excited about putting me in it. But I know how much many of you enjoy the RS3, and it was just an excuse for me to get behind the wheel of it and have some fun out here in a beautiful sunny Spanish countryside. Take it easy. I'll see you at another video very, very soon. Cheers.